Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Oh my gosh. Am I going to catch it? Am I going to catch it? I run this other monitor with a kind of a replay so I can check it out and make sure I hopefully don't miss anything. But I sometimes forget, almost all the time, forget to change or mute the audio. Happy Sunday. Well, I already said that. I'm blown away. There's 37, there's 86 of you. Oh my gosh, this is like becoming a thing. I mean, we've been doing this now for like what, 2 years? Like kind of first year off and on. And then Melka talked me into being more consistent. And now it's like every Sunday night, and you guys are here, and I'm blown away. I'm honored. And Derek and Addie are here. So if you do not know, you're new to our Sunday night live stream. Addie is formerly homeless. Derek is currently homeless. And they are, I will argue, and I'm going to win on this one, they are the best moderators YouTube chat. Because when you're talking about homelessness and poverty and stuff, emotions get high, and they do a great job of keeping the chat, kind of civil. So Addie gave me a suggestion tonight. What do you think? How about we talk about politics? All politics. Let's just talk about politics. What do you think? Huh, Addie? No politics. Well, we're going to try not. See, Addie is saying no. Addie is saying no. Again, thank you all. I have been posting, anonymous thank you. I have been posting on the community tab. I don't know what the official name of that is. I've been posting on the community tab, asking for topics and questions, what you guys want to talk about. And I'm grateful. We didn't get to all of them last week. I've included a couple this week. Maybe if I stopped ranting, we could get all the questions. You guys want me to stop ranting? And so again, this week, hey, Terry, that's a good one. Food insecurity. Let me add that really quick to the list here. And maybe we'll get to it. Mike, no way. I am not running for office. I will be honest with you about something, though. When I was going through high school, right? I would like to tell you that I was a badass, but I was just a young punk, right? And I did a lot of crazy stuff. But anyways, the guidance counselor said I should go into politics. Instead, I wrote this paper on I designed like a bank robbery or something, right? Totally rebellious, funky kid. And, over the last bunch of years, I've been a good boy, but for 30 years, getting from the high school days to like 30 years to now, I mean, from working in television and making lots of money to drugs and being homeless. And, I've done some bad stuff. I'm not proud of it. The party and stuff was fun. We had some fun. The survival stuff and some things that I did, I'm not proud of it. And occasionally I talk like this is, oh my gosh, this might open up a can of worms. I'm sorry, Addie. I'm not proud of it. And occasionally, well, I mean, I'm not proud of the bad stuff I've done in my life, but occasionally I will remember what the guidance counselor said. And I think, oh my gosh, maybe I should go into politics. And then I realize, you know how they have these negative smear campaigns, oh my gosh, he did this and he did that, and oh my gosh, I did a bunch of stuff that it would just be, yeah, there's no way I would win, right? And then I'm thinking about, this past election and how people with like no character at all. When I say character, they are characters, but they don't have integrity and whatever, and they're winning. And I'm like going, well, you know what? We live in a different world. I mean, Marion Barry, the mayor of Washington, D.C., got arrested for smoking crack, and then he was reelected, right? So we live in a different world now. So maybe I should just run for office. I would have to start off my campaign with a laundry list and say, okay, this is what Mark did. He did drugs. He dealt drugs. He, used to do all kinds of bad stuff. And I don't think that would be really good. I know times are changing. But anyways, I don't think any of us are here to talk about Hardly Normal's political ambitions. Oh my gosh, would that be funky, 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 funky. And yeah, I mean, Derek wants to get into the political arena, and you know what, I'm going to be like AOC or don't like AOC. That's and what they call the squad and all this. Forget the politics, the left, right. You've got some new voices coming in, and that is really amazing. And I think if any of you are out there and you are thinking, like Derek is, about throwing your hat into the political arena to make our world a better place, I'm going to give you lots of respect. I don't think I could do it. No, I couldn't do it. But we need some new voices. We need, politics aside, AOC and the squad and their new voices. There's more women going into Congress and running for office than ever before. That is amazing. There's more people of color. We have our first transgender congressperson. And there is, wow. I didn't mean to talk about this, but if you are so inspired to make our world a better place, go and do it. I couldn't. There's the negative stuff in the past, but I am honest to the core. I am honest. I am honest to the core. Hey, I'll tell you how honest I am. I wrote a post on my personal Facebook page this week, and I embellished some. We all embellish stories. We all do. So don't judge. But I wrote a story about a period in my past in 2003, and I put something in there that was only kind of part of true, right? It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't really the truth. It was part of truth. And you guys have all told stories and done the same thing. So I posted it on my Facebook wall, and it was bothering me. Oh my gosh, it was bothering me. And then the next morning I got up and I went and I edited it to it was the exact truth. It wasn't, we all want to tell stories and make them a little better. And, but for me, my point is we all lie. We all stretch the truth. We all, fabricate. Did I say that right? But for me, oh my gosh, I can't It bothers me. Integrity is the most important thing. Oh my gosh. So, anyways, we're here to talk about homelessness. And I know Terry started off, and since she's live and she's watching, let's talk about food insecurity. What do you say? So, especially now that we're going into Thanksgiving, if you log into your Facebook or you open up your mailbox, you are going to have all kinds of direct mail or advertising from rescue missions. And they're saying for $1.98, you can buy a meal for Thanksgiving. A meal changes a life. A meal changes a life. That's marketing spin, right? They've been saying it for so long. And in their defense, okay, in their defense, we know as nonprofit marketers, if I ask you to help pay for somebody's rent to get them off the streets, only a few people will donate. If I ask you guys to donate for food, I'll get tons of donations. I mean, one time I got a rental ice cream truck at a homeless shelter. It was amazing. It was one of the coolest things I have ever done in my life. But I was in shock that I was able to raise the money to rent a whole ice cream truck for 150 people in a homeless shelter, and they could have whatever they wanted. And I rented the truck for a couple of hours. And I was able to raise the money like that. But if I need to get a wheelchair or something, it's hard. It's hard to get the money for that. There's something about us humans. We love to feed people. And so anyways, this time of year, you're going to start seeing all kinds of solicitations from the homeless sector for food asks, right? And I'm going to back up a little bit because there's pre-COVID and after COVID. There's PC and AC, pre-COVID. So I'm going to talk about pre-COVID right now. So there is food insecurity in this country. I'm glad Terry brought it up. There is food insecurity. However, in the homeless communities, in most homeless communities. Now, when I say that, I'm talking Skid Row. I'm talking the Tenderloin. I'm talking the Zone in Phoenix. I'm talking that community. When you spread out, which homelessness is happening, when you're a little more rural, there might not be as much food being donated. I was in Tompkins Square Park, which is a park in New York City, right? And I was there 2 hours and 9 different churches came and fed the same homeless people. 9. I bet you 20, 30 churches came all day. And I asked a homeless person, I said, are churches feeding here all day? And he goes, yeah, that's why I stay here. Right. And, I get it. That's great. But imagine if those churches coordinated. Right? Because that's overfeeding. And really what it is they're going there to pat themselves on the back. We're feeding the lost. And there's nothing wrong with that. Feel good, but let's be smart about it and coordinate it. So there is food insecurity in this country, but it's seniors. It's homeless people that are no longer homeless and they're in an apartment. It is shut-ins, people with mental illness that have been housed. That is a serious crisis. They don't have food, but it's not. Churches go out. They want to go out to a park where homeless people are and feed. They don't want to do the Meals on Wheels to homeless people. So I'm talking pre-COVID. Okay. Got that? I'm PC pre-COVID. There was not a lot of food insecurity in the homeless community. There just wasn't. Now, after COVID, it's a different story because a couple of things happen. So volunteers who are often older stop volunteering because they're concerned they don't want to go out of their house. You have, and I'm not promoting panhandling. I'm just saying the number one way homeless people survive and get food is panhandling. So I was in Los Angeles. I was in San Francisco. I was just in New York City and Philadelphia. It was a little different. There was more people in New York City. New York City is built up, whereas LA is built out. There was more people in New York City, but there still wasn't the foot traffic for people to panhandle to get food. So a friend of mine, Melissa, I've been trying to do a mini documentary on her. Even during the COVID, that's when when COVID hit, really started, I started paying attention to her work because she was going out feeding people when nobody else were. I mean, she was like dressed head to toe in plastic and she's going out feeding people. And I knew right away that there was a significant crisis because there wasn't food for people. There wasn't the food in the dumpsters to go through because there's no foot traffic and the restaurants aren't, cooking like they normally do. And there wasn't, the ministries and other food going out. So it was now with after COVID, let's go. It's not up a level, but there are tens of millions of families who are now waiting in line at food banks that have never, ever had to wait in line to get donated food. They've never had to get donated food. And that's a serious crisis. Food insecurity after COVID has become something that wasn't just seniors going hungry and shut-ins going hungry, but now entire families going hungry. As many of you know, we talked about it, and Addie did ask that we don't go, that we don't get too political, and I am going to try. Anyways, the Senate is still stalling on stimulus package. And one of the things this new administration, sorry, Eddie, one of the things this new administration hopefully will be able to push through stimulus for renters to keep them in their apartments, for landlords to keep the landlords from having their rental property, taken from them in a foreclosure. There's not enough conversation about landlords. I mean, there's giant, huge landlords, corporations. I'm talking about the mom and pop landlords. You have small businesses, you have small nonprofits, you have big businesses, and you have, hey, anonymous, thank you. You have, America's hurting. America's hurting, and the Republican-led Senate have been stalling. The Democratic-led House passed it in May, and then it ran out on the 31st. And why I bring this up, and thank you, Anonymous, why I bring this up is not that I want to get into a political conversation, but if you're going to talk about insecurity in the food insecurity in this country, you have to talk about the effect that the coronavirus is having on the economy and having on, families, workers, households, and individuals. And we, as far as the country and our politicians, have really failed us. And food insecurity is growing. So thank you for the question. Hopefully I answered that. I think places like DC Central Kitchen, you know what? One of the things that is really amazing, and they call it food recovery, where DC Central Kitchen is one of the food recovery places where they, get the food that's still good from restaurants, and then they repurpose it for school lunches. Last I knew that they had the contract with the schools, and they employed homeless people to teach them how to be chefs doing it. So that is pretty amazing. We need more programs like that. Hey, Anonymous, thank you. So on the same conversation, I was reading in the comments a little, trying to catch up. Somebody wrote, and I kind of, maybe I can put two of these together, kind of. So amazing YouTube channel name, Underwear Only Art, etc. asked how to connect churches to the homeless. And I'm only going to stay on this for a second. I've written about this. I worked in full-time ministry for a long time. I was even pastor for a while. Played in a Christian rock band. I lived in a friggin' homeless shelter, faith-based homeless shelters for 7 effing years, and was forced to Bible studies twice a day. Anyways, why don't churches work together? And how do we connect them to homeless people? Well, it's not really a faith thing. It's a human thing. And for whatever reason, humans, there's people like all of you, and I know most of you have a heart and compassion for homeless people. And then there's some people that are just scared, or they want to blame the homeless person, that it's their fault. So why help them? Churches, just by their nature, nonprofits have a similar issue, but churches have a really hard time working together because they believe, church is all about tithing members, right? Church should be more about community. I mean, that's the way Jesus intended it, community. But it is turned in, you have to keep the lights on and pay for people, which is understandable. But churches think, if I'm going to partner with this other church, tithing members might go there. I might lose one of our donors. It might even be a major donor. So churches, by their nature, you would think Christianity is this big kumbaya, let's work together and let's, help each other. And it's not. And it's business 101. If I have a Sunday church service, and let's say I have 200 members go to my Sunday church service, and we partner with another church, even if it's, to go feed the homeless or go do something, that other church, some of my members might be curious. They might make friends. They might want to go to the other church to check it out. What if that other church is better? Then we might lose congregants, and we might lose tithing members. And they won't tell you that, but that's the truth. And that's why churches have a really hard time. For me, I've learned something. And that is that if you step out, and whether it's building community, whether it's step out, having a statement, that you might lose people, right? I'm sure some of the things I say on this live stream, a bunch of people unfollow or unsubscribe, and that's their prerogative. But at the same time, there's that amount or more that do subscribe because of what I said. And to answer your question directly, I don't see churches really working together. I mean, there's some wonderful interfaith communities where you have synagogues and mosques, and there are wonderful church. There's I knew of one in Syracuse, and there's a wonderful one in Los Angeles, and we need more of that. We need more of that. It's, you have to have confidence. If you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, so I used to work in church marketing, and I'll say this, and then we're going to get off church. Churches need to ask one question for church marketing. And that is, if they close tomorrow, if my church closed tomorrow, would the community notice? If your church were to close tomorrow, would the city around you notice? Would people notice? And I'm not talking about, there's no cars in the parking lot. What I'm saying is, are you out feeding people? Are you out clothing people? Are you out housing people? Are you out making your community better? If not, start. Because it all comes down to, would your community notice if you closed? If you closed and they didn't notice, that means that you're not really working within the community to affect change, to help the community. So now we'll go on. And these are, I'll just say, I get a lot whenever I say, what would you like to talk about? People say, do you love Jesus? Let's talk about the Bible. No, this is about homelessness. We do cover, like we just did, ministry, and we do cover, topics when it comes up, if it relates, but we're not going to, any of that. And, maybe I don't have the software hooked up, but I would bring Derek. Derek probably has a good idea on why this is. But Chris asked, with all these people that are homeless, I wonder why they are not working together to build a new town or a new city or someplace to get a second chance. And I thought this was interesting. And the reason I thought it was interesting, because you get this a lot. You get, I have some land. I would like, somebody will see a video and they'll say, I have some land. I would like them to come live on their land. And I'll say, that's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. Do you, is there transportation? What are they going to do for food? Are they going to be able to get to doctor's appointments? Are they going to be able to get to a job where they can make money? Those things need to be answered. So this idea of we're going to go off into the woods and make a hippie commune, which I think is amazing. And you do see it. Derek lives in a homeless camp that they become self-sufficient. You see some homeless camps working to be self-sufficient, but the reality is they shouldn't even be there. The only reason that homeless tent cities exist, or why homeless exists, is because we have failed on housing people. And that is a very, very real crisis. I'm going to go on to a question from Picking for a Living. She asked this last week, but we didn't get to it, and I thought it was really important. How many of you live in rural cities? Right? So COVID-19 has been around for a little bit. And when COVID hit, there was a mad scramble to get homeless people in hotels and to get them out of congregate shelters, dorm-style shelters, and rightly so. What happened, thanks, Amy, I figured there was a couple rural people in here, and rural homelessness doesn't get talked about enough. So what happened is coronavirus hit. Everybody scrambled, thought there was going to be this, huge, hey, Elizabeth, I see ya. They thought there was going to be, in a second, I was going to ask a question. That's why I asked if people are rural. They thought there was going to be this big outbreak, and thank God there hasn't been. There's been some outbreaks in shelters, but there hasn't been outside. Turns out, one of two things: outside is safer, or they're not testing people. Anyways, now winter's coming, and congregate shelters, emergency shelters. So what happens during the winter is, especially in rural communities, there is a huge demand for emergency shelters. And they call them cold weather shelters, emergency shelters. Many of them don't open up until it gets freezing, which drives me crazy. Why didn't you open up when it's 40 or 50? Why do you have to wait until it's freezing? But anyways, and especially in rural communities, a lot of these are run by churches. And the reason that they don't open up is because lack of support, lack of volunteers. So, for them to open up is a real burden. Then now with COVID, and I don't know, they might even be in the room, in the chat room. I have a homeless mom lives in a car with her daughter. And she said in their community, there's 3 emergency shelters and none of them are opening up. So I don't know where you are. A couple of people said they were rural. I was just curious if you've heard if emergency shelters are going to be opening up, because it's a serious crisis. So over the summer, fall, homeless people were okay because they were outside. With winter coming, and because of the coronavirus, it is deadly for people to stay outside. So 2 of the 3, Elizabeth said 2 of the 3 shelters are closed. And, the first time I've communicated with Elizabeth, normally all 3 of those, when it gets really cold, I bet are at capacity and probably turn people away. So now 2 of the 3 shelters are closed. And Amy is in rural Oklahoma. And I would, Derek's telling me it's 40 degrees in Oakland. There's an inside joke there. I don't believe you, Derek. Wink, wink. And Deb's saying it's snowing in Spokane. Addie doesn't have a shelter at all. Move south is not that easy. Bada boom. So Virginia in Raleigh and Fayetteville, are they opening all the winter shelters? That's what this year, because again, and many of them are churches and they're doing the best they can. But they're worried about their staff getting COVID. They're worried about lawsuits. They're worried, about homeless people getting COVID. So this winter has really got me scared. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and the deaths in Los Angeles keep skyrocketing. There's no national death count. Um, excuse me. So homelessness is getting deadly, and this holiday it could be really, really, really bad. And I don't have a solution. I really don't. I mean, the stimulus package, I'm sure, would help. Hey, James Bond, Derek actually wants to bring a cruise ship into Oakland to house people. Well, Osmer, even if we started building tiny homes now, we wouldn't be able to get them all erected in time. What California did was Project Room Key. Other states did the same thing, different name. They started putting homeless people in hotels, but now the FEMA money's running out, and they're closing those programs. Um, hey, Derek, did the RV camp close? I know. Yeah, September 30th, bam. And then Derek said it's 40 degrees. The Bay Area does get cold. That's really scary, folks. This winter is going to be really, really scary. James Bond, I've never been much for the cute cruise ship idea. I know Derek has talked about it a bunch of times, but now with the cruise ship industry, you probably get one cheap. Thank you, Anonymous. I started getting a little tired. I don't know if you guys saw when I took off I had cancer surgery here and it hasn't been healing. I've gone back 3 times. I have to go back again tomorrow and then next week. I'll be okay. That's why I don't talk about it on social media. But some of you might have saw when I cleaned my glasses, so I thought I'd explain. I'm fine. It's just having trouble healing. Little Star Club. I don't know where Denton is. Is it by Houston, Dallas, or Austin? I get to Austin quite often. I haven't been to Dallas or Houston. I've never been to Houston doing this. Hey, Michael, thanks for the love. I was in Dallas 2 years ago. Yeah, Vicky, there's tent camps everywhere. Charles Cherries, that's exactly right. Vegan Gem, the doctor's doing something. Amanda Hug and Kiss. I am hoping to get, I was supposed to be in Atlanta um, this year, but COVID slammed all that. A lot of travel got canceled. We're talking about some of that coming back up next year, 2021. And if we get back to some state of normal, hopefully I'll be at Dallas and Atlanta and some other places. Hey, Megan, great question. It depends. I normally say ask people, and it also depends on in your environment. So, for example, if you're up in Alaska, I've gone into Walmart and literally bought every hat, not like fancy dress hats, but wool hats that keep you warm and every pair of gloves. In Anchorage, Alaska Walmart, I bought all of them. And, then when you're out and about, what's interesting that I found is like this time of year when it starts getting cold, I will carry hand warmers along with socks. Socks people love more than hand warmers. I don't get that. Underwear is number one, but underwear is hard because everybody's in different sizes and you can't carry it. But you have to ask people. So, like Cody did a video of a woman who needed glasses. That we went and bought glasses. There Jane in the K Town video, who's wonderful. She tells a story about a guy that just needed eye drops. That's all they wanted was eye drops. So it depends. But if you're going to carry stuff with you, a lot of it depends on the weather. Rain ponchos, the dollar rain ponchos go a long way. In Target has, I should do a post on this. Target has some of the best travel size. So Target has little medicine. I think they're $1.25 now. They used to be 99 cents or $1, where it has, like an aspirin and ointment and Band-Aids. SW asked about Echo Park. Everything is the same right now. I have not, you can follow their Instagram and please support their GoFundMe. Drake, I would love to get back to Nashville. Sure, Miss so leading cause of homelessness is the lack of affordable housing. Couple of things happen if you want to go backwards, right? In the 80s, Republicans, Reagan, Democrats do dumb stuff too. But the most significant change that has created homelessness was Reagan cut $15 billion worth of HUD funding. Overnight, it created chronic homelessness. It created these gazillion-dollar nonprofits, these giant 1,000 people shelters. None of them existed until Reagan cut affordable housing. So we're seeing a bit of that, a lot of that. Then the last 5 years, rents have gone up 75%. And it's not just LA, San Francisco, cities like Phoenix, rents have gone up 75%. So wages have remained stagnant, right? Wages have stayed flat while rents have gone up. And that's put people out on the streets. Then you've got to add the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system, back when I was a knucklehead, they would let you out, give you $200 and a bus pass, wherever you wanted to go, bus ticket, bus pass. Now they just let you out. They open up the gate. You're no longer in prison. There you go. And there's little support. So now I'm a felon. I can't get a job. So I'm homeless. Foster care ages people out. Domestic violence. Yes, mental illness and addiction play a role. But most people that have mental illness and most people addicted to drugs are in housing. They live down the street from you or down the hall in your apartment complex. So, you can't point drugs and mental illness as a significant cause because it's not. It is a cause. And in some areas, like the Tenderloin or the Zone in Phoenix, or Los Angeles' Skid Row, you see a lot of drug use. But majority of homeless people are 16 years old or younger. Majority of homeless people are children. They're not drinking and using drugs, nor do they have schizophrenia or any mental illness. They're children. Majority of homeless people are young children under the age of 16. So let me recap. Affordable housing. Then you have criminal justice, foster care, domestic violence. Now COVID's going to play a significant role. So Keith says, years ago, I tried to get arrested just for a place to eat and sleep. I was there once. I'm not going to tell we started this off saying that I got a lot in my past that I've done, and this is one of them that I'm not going to tell you what I almost did. But there's I forget her name. Is Saskatoon. I interviewed her in her hospital room. She had AIDS, and that she wanted to take us. I remember, what was her name? And she took us to her tent. She was wonderful, but she gave in her interview a really powerful soundbite about how she would go into jail to get food. Super Penguin 5495. How am I not rich? Huh. There's this thing. People, I'm grateful for 760,000 subscribers. Thank you. But you don't make money from subscribers. There's this thing on YouTube that people, but well, thank you, Two Tone. Yeah, if I was rich, we would be having a party. I don't know if that's what Addie is referring to, but so we run an online support group for homeless people. And one of my dreams, I occasionally buy a lottery ticket. I lost. I got 5 over here, and I lost not even one number. I sometimes daydream about flying everybody in from our online support group, and we do a Sunday night live together, maybe. That'd be fun. Where, we could, all hang out and meet each other in person. Social distancing, of course. Charmaine, thank you. Elizabeth, it is only for homeless people or formerly homeless people. You can find it at wearevisible.com. If you're not homeless or you're not formerly homeless, there's lots of groups. Please, this is only for homeless people and formerly homeless people. If you have lived experience of homelessness, we'd love to have you. Well then, Elizabeth, wearevisible.com. We would love to have you. Derek and Addie are moderators there too. I do, Megan. Megan asked about the difference between Canadian. Just so I don't, I'm going to assume that you are from Canada. Your government had me go to 24 cities in Canada to help champion the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness, which was amazing. Homelessness, whether it's UK, whether it's Canada, whether it's United States, it sucks everywhere. It sucks. The big difference between Canadian homeless and is Indigenous population are overly represented in Canada. A lot of it is because of the residential schools. If you're Canadian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anonymous, thank you. In United States, African American people of color, our black and brown friends are overly represented, and that's because this country still has a problem with racism. And the other big issue between the two countries in homelessness is healthcare. You have healthcare, and I learned, coming from here, coming here or living here, looking north. We've always, and other Americans might think the same thing. I've always, wow, free healthcare. Wow, that's great. When I was in Canada that summer driving around interviewing homeless people, I've learned that your healthcare isn't perfect. It's way better than ours, but there is, when you go to province, there's some issues and some other things. Hey, Save and Celebrate, thank you very much for the donation. But that's the big differences. That's the really big differences. The healthcare. You guys have free healthcare. We do not. In Canada, Indigenous population are overly represented on the streets, and here it's the African American population. Anonymous, thank you. Yeah, Don, I mean, it's not free healthcare. People have that's why we don't have it, because people here don't want to pay for it. It's funny is because the people that don't want to pay for, I don't have healthcare, right? I'm unemployed without healthcare right now. We're going to change that real soon, but people don't want to pay for that are mega rich. It's not like they don't have it. And I shouldn't say mega rich. Some are just rich, right? But there's, if you look at the UK and Europe, I mean, they pay huge money in taxes. Like in Oslo, I was in Oslo, Norway, and it's free college, free healthcare, free, just amazing stuff, but they pay high taxes. They pay a lot of high taxes. And this country, there's something about Americans that we want to, say, let's be together, let's, unify, but I'm not going to take care of you. Okay, folks, we're getting down to the end. Any last questions? Any last statements? Once again, everybody, thank you so much. I went for a bike ride today, which shouldn't have tuckered me out. Hey, Clark, thank you for sharing. Eugene Allison, there isn't a lot of free clinics. There is not. Not in America. Elizabeth, thank you. Okay, we're coming down to the last few minutes. Thank you, Amy. So, Billy, that's a good question. I don't have the answer to it. I know in Europe it's 40%. That a lot of countries pay 40%, but then it's free. So I'm paying 40% in taxes, and I don't pay anything for my kids to go to college, and I don't pay anything for healthcare. Well, I need a kidney transplant, or my wife gets sick, or I get COVID. I don't pay anything, right? So I mean, 50, 70%, that's all crazy. Even 40% is probably crazy. But when you think about it, you know, we can't let people die. And that when somebody's sick and dies, it costs money, your taxpayer money. Oh, Billy, you know that communism won't work. Thank you, Vero. I was a little down tonight. I don't know why. I was excited for the chat, but when I fired everything up, and we started going, I kind of got needed to catch my second wind, and it still hasn't happened. Thank you, Anonymous. Hey, Steve, there you are. Steve, you're spot on. I've gotten really unhealthy again. I lost 30, 40 pounds, and so maybe that's it. I ate healthy today. Maybe I got to go back to pizza. What do you say? No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna be around much longer if I keep this bad lifestyle. Thanks, Steve. I feel like guacamole, and not like the green good guacamole, the brown yucky rotting guacamole. Sakina, I've got to change my lifestyle. I've got to get out of this house. And I know I've been procrastinating. When I leave this house, it means I'm leaving mom. And it's been really hard. Hey, Rebecca, thank you so much. Hey, Sharon, thank you. Dano, you're late. Or have you been here hiding? Or didn't I see you earlier? Hey, Catherine, thank you. Yes, Elizabeth and everybody, my mom will be with me always, but I've got to detach from this house. And I'm going to close with this. Coffee enemas. Lady T, I really hope you're joking on that one. Life, M. Scott Peck. If you haven't read A Road Less Traveled, I highly recommend it. M. Scott Peck says that life is a bunch of births and deaths. You're born, you go to elementary school, high school, get your first job, go to college, get married, and each one of them is a birth and a death. It's a birth of a new season and a death of an old season, and you change. And when you get stuck and you're not able to change because we get older and you mature and you go through this process, that's when we start having some mental problems. You have to read the book. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm very conscious of that because I look around. Even today, I'm walking around and I'm like going, God, I got to get out of here, but I can't leave. I'm having trouble with this transition in my life. And I mean, now with winter coming, it would be dumb for me to relocate now. But as soon as spring comes, I've got to get out of here. Plus, I can't stop working. I need to stop working to start cleaning out this house, you know. Anyways, folks, it is now officially 1 hour. I think you guys are awesome. I am honored and grateful to spend another Sunday night with you all. I am grateful and honored that Addie and Derek were with us making the chat an awesome chat. Thank you all that commented. Thank you all that donated. And thanks everybody that supports Invisible People. This is we. It's not me. It's we. And we are making a difference. Thank you.